I decided to do the Caregivers Strong video because I was dealing with a lot of caregivers. Many of my clients are going through major life transitions, and part of that is caregiving. So I thought by having some very special women share their story, share what they're going through or what they have gone through, they could help remove that isolation and help those that do feel alone not feel so alone.
I was caring for my partner. We'd been together at that point probably about 4 years, and then he got ill. So the last 5 years were care.
Who I'm a caregiver for is my mom. I share responsibility with my dad, and she lives 4 hours north of here. So it's a challenge.
The relationship for the person I'm caring for is my mom, and she is in a stage where she's not really aware of a lot of things.
So I have cared for both my father and my mother, and I wasn't happy. In fact, I feel guilty about the way that I cared for my father. So when my mother came to Ottawa to be nearer to us, I really wanted to spend lots of time with her. I wanted her to get to know my son.
So my current caregiving situation is for my husband. We've been married, it'll be 10 years in July, and 3 years ago he was diagnosed with a rare, incurable heart and lung condition.
My caregiving situation is my mother. She currently lives with us again after a 3-year absence. Previously lived with us for 12 years, moved out, had a stroke, and was in a somewhat abusive situation, so she moved home.
There were 2 people I was giving care to at the same time, and the first one was my husband, and the other one, and this is going to sound really weird, was his ex-wife.
Some of the challenges I faced were about being able to make sure I took time for myself, which, there were times I spectacularly failed at.
You can't be working 24/7. You think of the average person working, they get coffee breaks, they go for lunch, and then they go home, and their day is done. A caregiver's day never ends.
The challenges I face with caregiving for my mom, even though she's independent, is that I do need to take time out of my day usually to go and see the doctors. And I really need to work evenings and Saturdays to kind of make up for the time that I'm taking off during the day, which does have an impact on my family life with my husband and my son.
Distance, with mom being 4 hours away, it's challenging. The first 5 weeks when mom hit critical mass was 5 weeks of me being away from my family.
The challenges with giving care, my mother's personality is different since the stroke. Her physical limitations are different, and helping her to understand that she's different is a task.
I have no family, so there wasn't anyone for me to lean on, and I wound up holding them both up emotionally and literally physically, as well as keeping myself together so that I could do this. And I was a little surprised at how capable I was at things I never ever even thought that I would have to do.
As a caregiver, I've had a lot of learnings. It's been a huge growing experience for me. I learned the value of family and friends, the absolute essential of having, I'll call it an EA, just someone who can, okay, these are the things I need taken care of, and they would make it happen.
I've learned that not everybody processes this the same way. Many of her friends and some of the family can't even bear to visit her anymore. It's too hard.
I've learned that it's not easy. It's one of the hardest jobs, and at times it's most rewarding.
If I remember that he's the care receiver, that someone's on the receiving end of whatever I'm giving, it just made such a change in my brain and my heart that I thought, okay, this is what makes the difference. We need to remember that someone's always on that receiving end of whether it's care or frustration or anger. There's a receiver for what we're feeling.
What I'd like other caregivers to know is to take it, not to be so hard on yourself. If you don't have a good day, it's okay. Don't stop the visits because it's so hard. Because one day those visits are going to stop completely.
Because it can get frustrating, it can get tiring, it can get like you just want it to be over, which is a horrible thought, because if it's over, it's over.
And there's times that you're going to think you just can't go on. And there's going to be nasty times where in your mind you think, please die. Please die. Because I can't be good for you anymore. And this is killing me. And there were times when I thought, I may even die before you because this is too big a burden for me. And I can't do it anymore. But then you go on.
What I'd like other caregivers to know, be aware of, is whatever choice you make is your right. Whatever choice the other person makes is also their right. But your right, you have to honor that. No matter what the consequences, it's your right.
What I know now and what I would like other caregivers to know is that they're not alone. They need to also focus on themselves and make time for themselves and to reach out for the support that's there.
So not only are there professional services out there, but there's also support communities out there like Women Living Fully, where people are going through, you're not the only person going through this. So I really embrace the fact that there's other people going through this and you can ask questions, you can just vent.
And find the funny. I would tell other caregivers, find the positive, find the funny, and don't be so hard on yourself.
So if you're caring for someone and you too feel isolated, if you feel alone, if you feel like you're drowning in overwhelm and exhaustion, there is a community there for you. We're not alone, and that we do have a community that can support us and that we can continue to be there for our loved ones and take care of ourselves too.